video, I'm going to talk about 7 factors which can actually worsen the pigmentation on your face or can cause brand new pigmentation. It creates a very uneven skin tone. Uneven skin tone gives skin a very dull look. The opposite of a dull looking skin is a brightened looking skin. There are 2 main reasons for pigmentation on the face. One is from inflammation on the face. The other one is from the hormonal imbalance. Now in this video, we are only going to talk about the inflammation pigmentation because this is the only kind of pigmentation that we can fix, we can treat by using over-the-counter skincare products. Skincare products for which we don't need a prescription to buy. Now the pigmentation from hormonal imbalance, now for that you need to visit a doctor. The first factor is maybe you're not exfoliating enough. You see, exfoliation is the process of getting rid of the old cells, unrequired old cells from the top layer of the skin. Now cells in the top layer of the skin have to fall off regularly and make way for the younger and the newer cells from the deeper layers of the skin. But often some of these old cells don't fall off. They're very stubborn. They all cling together and give skin a very dull look. And some of these old cells carry inside them an excess amount of pigment called melanin, which is actually what causes the pigmentation. The excess amount of this pigment melanin is what causes pigmentation. So when we exfoliate our skin, we are gently giving these old cells a nudge and saying, hello, time for you to fall off. And when they fall off, along with them, the pigment, the excess pigment that they were having inside them also fall off, and that gets rid of a lot of the superficial visible layer pigmentation on the skin. Now there are 2 types of exfoliation, chemical and physical. Physical exfoliation is where you have scrubs. These are the ingredients which are seeds of a fruit or something like that, and that's very harsh on the skin. As far as possible, use chemical exfoliants. Now these are ingredients like glycolic acid, lactic acid, mandelic acid, salicylic acid. Now these are very gentle on the skin when they exfoliate. So use a chemical exfoliant as much as possible and exfoliate regularly. At the same time, over exfoliation, if you just because you see, exfoliation brightens up the skin. We might just get too excited with that brightening effect and we might end up exfoliating more often than we need. If we exfoliate like 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 times a week, that's going to irritate the skin, and that will lead to irritation, will lead to inflammation, and inflammation will always eventually lead to pigmentation on the skin. So exfoliate your skin regularly. That's around twice a week or maybe even once a week. Twice a week is good. Using chemical exfoliants, exfoliate in moderation. If at any stage you find your skin is a bit dry or dehydrated on a particular day, don't exfoliate on that day. The second factor is maybe you're exfoliating at the wrong time. See, exfoliation, though it's actually very helpful for the skin, is a bit, even a chemical exfoliant is going to cause a bit of harshness on the skin. So if you are going to be exfoliating, let's say straight after you've had waxing done or threaded your face or got any of the skin treatments done, and then you exfoliate, there's already a bit of harshness that's been caused by these procedures, and you add exfoliation on top of it, that's going to aggravate the skin a lot and it's going to inflame, and inflammation always will eventually lead to pigmentation, and that's what we are trying to avoid. So make sure you give your skin a proper rest after the threading or waxing or any other skin procedure. Give it some time, let it rest, make sure the skin is not inflamed or red, and then you exfoliate. Exfoliate in the nighttime. Nighttime exfoliation is better because exfoliating and then straight away stepping out in the sun is not a good thing. Even if you exfoliate in the daytime and stay indoors, always remember that sun's UV rays can actually travel through glass, through the windows, and reach us indoors and do its damaging thing, that is aging of our skin. So try to exfoliate in the nighttime. Use a sunscreen every day and reapply the sunscreen regularly, at least every 2 hours. Sunscreen is the most important thing that we can do for our skincare. If we actually use amazing skincare products but actually don't use sunscreen, then we are doing nothing much for the skin, because sunscreen is the most important thing that we can do for our skin. If we don't wear sunscreen, skin will eventually pigment. There will be pigmentation on the skin. There will be dark spots and dark patches on the skin. Now, sunscreen must be worn indoors as well, because sun's UV rays can travel through glass, through windows, and reach our skin. Wear a sunscreen which has got at least SPF 30 or more than 30. SPF measures the protection that the sunscreen offers against sun's UVB rays. Now, there is another type of ray which also causes damage to the skin, which is the sun's UVA rays. In fact, sun's UVA rays is the rays which is responsible for the aging of the skin. It penetrates deep inside and destroys that collagen. So for UVA, its protection is measured by PA and some plus signs next to it. So we need at least 4 plus signs. 4 plus signs is extremely high UVA protection, and that's what we are after. Always use a broad spectrum sunscreen, as that broad spectrum sunscreen is a sunscreen which protects you from both UVA and from UVB. But broad spectrum alone is not enough, because we need a sunscreen which has got at least SPF 30 plus, and UVA protection has to be PA plus, that's 4 pluses. The fourth factor is maybe you're not using enough anti-inflammatory ingredients. Now, you see, skin is always inflamed. Sometimes this inflammation, the redness, is visible, but most of the time it's not visible. Skin is constantly inflamed because of its exposure to sun's UV rays, because of pollution, environmental irritants, allergens, etc. Now, this inflammation on the skin, which most of the time is not very visible, will eventually lead to pigmentation. So we need to use ingredients which will calm the skin on a very regular basis, on a daily basis. So these are what the anti-inflammatory ingredients are for. They calm the skin, reduce the redness and reduce that inflammation, and remove the chances of inflammation developing into pigmentation. Now, the best way of incorporating good anti-inflammatory ingredients in your skincare routine is to use a moisturizer which has got some good anti-inflammatory ingredients, and these days there are a number of moisturizers which use good anti-inflammatory ingredients in them. Some of the good anti-inflammatory ingredients are Panthenol, Niacinamide, and I'm going to list lots of others in the description box below. Please do check it out. Now, apart from using them in a moisturizer, if you can use a good serum which also has anti-inflammatory property, that's very good. Now, on a rough day, on a day when you've actually given too much of excitement for the skin, maybe you've been out the whole day, or maybe you've been in a very polluted part of the city, just give your skin a bit more love than normal. Make sure you use more anti-inflammatory product on that day. By more, I don't mean more in quantity, but more frequently than you normally would. Maybe you're not using tyrosinase inhibitors. You see, what happens is when skin is inflamed, skin starts producing an extra amount of melanin. Now, melanin can only offer a certain level of protection. After that level of protection, any amount of melanin that the skin produces becomes an excess. But skin doesn't know that, because melanin is skin's first layer of defense. So skin continues producing melanin, and a lot of this melanin becomes excess. And this excess melanin is what results in pigmentation on the skin. Now, tyrosinase is an enzyme which is helping the cells produce this pigment melanin. Now, tyrosinase inhibitors are skincare ingredients that we use on the skin to calm this tyrosinase down, to tell this tyrosinase, hello, please calm down. No need to produce so much melanin. We've reached the limit. So that's what tyrosinase inhibitors do. Now, if you've got a darker skin tone, you are more prone to producing more amount of excess melanin. That's why we are more prone to getting, I've got a darker skin tone too, that's why we're more prone to getting pigmentation on our skin. So for us, it is essential to incorporate tyrosinase inhibitors in our skincare routine frequently, regularly, if possible, almost every day. Now, some of the good tyrosinase inhibitors are kojic acid, licorice root extract, and then you've got tranexamic acid, vitamin C. If you can actually use them every day, one or more of these ingredients, that's a huge plus. If you can find a moisturizer which has got kojic acid in it, some moisturizers do, that's a huge plus too. Or tranexamic acid, these are the ingredients that are also, or licorice root extract. Now, these are ingredients that are usually available in a moisturizer too. See, moisturizer is a skincare product which we would use regularly every day. So if you can have these must-have ingredients in that moisturizer, that's good. I'm going to list in the description box below the complete list of the tyrosinase inhibitors, so you can make sure that you're using some of them. The next reason is maybe you're not using vitamin A and vitamin A derivatives regularly. Now, vitamin A and vitamin A derivatives in skincare is actually the gold standard for anti-aging. What these ingredients primarily do is they actually increase the cellular turnover and they boost the collagen production. Now, cellular turnover is what we are concerned about when it comes to pigmentation. Cellular turnover means producing more new cells in the deeper layers of the skin so that these new cells can travel to the visible layer of the skin and replace the old cells from the visible layer of the skin. Now, when the old cells are replaced, these old cells fall off, and these old cells usually carry with them an extra amount of that pigment melanin, which is causing that pigmentation. When they are forcibly replaced by all these new cells which are being produced, the pigment that these old cells carry also goes away. And that's why when you actually use this vitamin A, there's an instant brightening of the face because all these old cells with pigment has been replaced by newer, younger cells from the deeper layers of the skin. The final reason is maybe you're using the wrong skincare ingredients. Maybe you're using a skincare product which has got fragrance in it, or denatured alcohol in it, or some essential oils in it. Now, these ingredients are very nasty. They might give you a good sensory feeling, but they're very nasty. They actually irritate the skin, and when the skin is irritated, it will lead to inflammation, and inflammation eventually always leads to pigmentation. So check the skincare products that you're currently using. Make sure it doesn't have any nasty ingredients in it. So that's one of the easiest way to prevent pigmentation on the face. That's about it. If you found this video useful, please give it a like and do subscribe to my channel. That will really help me a lot, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.